When I was in college, having a longboard and riding a longboard around on campus seemed to be the cool thing to do. So I ended up getting a longboard, and I didn't have a helmet, but I didn't care. I worked at a hardware store in the evenings after I had class, and I had to park really far away from my dorm, but I could longboard back to my dorm from the parking lot. So I would park my car, and then I would get my longboard out of the car, and then I would ride it down the hill to my dorm. Now the hill that I would longboard down, I would go pretty fast, and I knew where all the bumps in the road were, so I would usually avoid them. However, one night I hit a bump while going down, and I got the speed wobbles. If you don't know what the speed wobbles are, that's where you start wobbling like crazy, and you lose balance and control. But I had enough balance that I had a couple seconds to decide, am I going to jump off right now, or am I going to hit a curb up ahead when I can't make a turn and fly into the woods? So I thought, I'm going to jump off right now. And I also had watched many parkour videos. I don't know if you know what parkour is.
Parkour! 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 Yeah! Parkour.
But in parkour, you do flips and stuff and jump off walls. And in that moment, for whatever reason, I thought, I'll do a flip. But I was holding a Bible in my hand, and it got caught on the ground. And I landed on my back and slid like 20 feet. And I guess my arm got twisted too, but I didn't realize that at first because of all the adrenaline. And I felt my back with my hands, and I wasn't bleeding or anything, just a little scratched. And my head was okay, even though I wasn't wearing a helmet. So for a second I thought, wow, I didn't even get hurt. And then I looked at my arm and I realized that it was bent a little funny. And so I thought, wow, I definitely broke my wrist and it doesn't even hurt. So I thought I was like super tough because my wrist was broken, but it didn't hurt from the adrenaline. So anyway, I called my girlfriend at the time and I said, hey, and she's like, hey, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm pretty good, but I just broke my arm. Is there any way you can bring me to the ER? And she said, oh my goodness, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. But could you bring me to the ER, please? Because I probably shouldn't drive myself. And she was like, okay. And so I told her where I was, and she came and got me and brought me to the ER. And in the drive to the ER, I called my dad to let him know I was going to the hospital. Yeah, Dad, I broke my arm, so I'm going to the ER. And he said, how do you know? And I said, because my arm's broken. And he's like, well, how do you know that it's broken? And I said, because I can look at it and see that it's broken, it's bent. Marlin, you need to get rid of that longboard, or I'll come down there and get rid of it for you. So I said, okay. And then I did get rid of my longboard after that, but not right at that moment. I was just going to the hospital right then, but later I got rid of it. But I did design a cool grip tape design on my longboard, so I'll show you that. As you can see, I put an M for Marlin. I sold it. For some reason, someone wanted to buy it, and if I remember correctly, his name didn't even start with an M, so whatever. We got to the ER, and I told the guy at the counter that I broke my arm, and then they said I would have to get x-rays on it, but that I would have to wait in the waiting room for a little bit. So at that point, my girlfriend went home, and my friend Brandon came and hung out with me, and he brought his laptop. Tarzan's cool, guys, so don't judge me, okay? We watched about 75% of Tarzan, and then the doctors x-rayed my arm, and the doctors looked at the x-rays, and the doctor told me, yeah, you have the most broken wrist I've ever seen in my life. He asked me, how fast do you think you were going? I said, oh, I don't know, maybe 25 miles per hour. And the doctor said, no way. You were definitely going 35, maybe 40 miles per hour. Most people break their wrist into 2 or 3 pieces, but you broke yours into basically 10 pieces. And a lot of fragments. We're having a special wrist surgeon fly into town right now so he can help us put the 10 pieces back together, but we will just ignore the other fragments and they will dissolve in your body. Then I was in a medical bed on drugs for pain for the rest of the night, and then I had surgery the next morning. And I woke up in a different hospital room with all my friends around me, and the surgeons had put a metal plate inside my forearm with 7 screws, and now I have this cool scar on my arm. The nurses told me that I might want to stay in the hospital for another day to recover, but I said no because I hated being in the hospital. After a lot of wrist therapy, my wrist got better, and the wrist therapy appointments basically consisted of me putting my hand in hot wax, and then playing with children's toys and riding an exercise bike with my hands instead of my feet. So this is an end card. If you want to watch other videos by me, you can do that. Or if you want to subscribe, you can also do that. Yeah, I also do fishing videos, so I'll be making some videos about that, especially as it gets warmer. And you can check out some of those videos. So yeah, thanks for watching.